Alright guys, so NVDA, so that's the update video. It's been a while since they reported earnings. Stock is significantly higher, and we were not talking about the stock, but right here, right now, well, finally over 1K today, another 7%. Stock is trading at 11:38, 30 minutes or 20 minutes actually before market close on Tuesday, May 28th. Market capitalization of NVDA at the moment, $2.8 trillion. The only higher market capitalization right here, right now, we have Apple at 2.9 trillion, and then we have Microsoft at 3.18 trillion. So basically, for NVDA to be the number one, it needs another like 400 billion. If it goes up 20%, 10%, 15%, whatever people are predicting, well, it will be the highest market cap stock in, I think, in the world, and in especially in US stock market. Overall S&P 500, what's the S&P 500 total market capitalization? If I'm not wrong, we're like 40 plus trillion. So at the moment, it represents pretty big chunk, 5% or so of S&P 500. So before we jump into the levels, we can just actually take a look at that. So in information technology, NVDA 5 point. So basically in S&P 500, this stock has 5.9% say. So basically you can say that it represents almost 6% of the entire S&P 500. So what I'm watching, I have given this example many times. I'm gonna switch to daily chart, and again, I'm not here trying to be just throwing numbers out there and just say that at some point it will be 1500, 1300, or it will drop to. If something doesn't happen, I'll just take the L and move on, and I'm a trader for the most part, and these videos are not recommendation for you to buy or sell any asset. So let's have a look at this chart. So we talked about this level being resistance 960, and if it could get back above it, well, probability of 1K break was about like 30% or so. Going into earnings, we had a huge gap. Today we had another huge gap. So how far can it go? Well, I have given TSLA's run up back from 2021, 2022, and I'm gonna go back to that chart again, because I think not to a T, but almost, because it's doing it a little bit faster than Tesla has done it. But basically, that's the first run up that we had in Tesla in 2020, 2021. Pretty big pullback, chop around, another huge run up all the way to 414 before giving you this basically volatility at its all-time highs. So right here, right now, in my opinion, again, this is purely my opinion, look at the earnings report Tesla had, and it did break out, pretty big move, gap again, and it just kept going. After the earning report, well, it went up. Basically, let's measure this move, another like 40% or so, 40 plus percent. So if market plays out identical, basically it doesn't, I mean, of course it is, we're talking about a lot larger market cap move versus Tesla back then, but still it was near trillion, 1.2 trillion or so. So 40% move after earnings report for NVDA would be somewhere around 1350, 1340. So, and my goal is basically to well, again, I'm a trader. This is purely for educational purposes only, okay? So I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. So I think it can do something like this. It can chop, keep going a little bit further, and then do this. And I don't know, and I don't care what it does further from there. If it's gonna keep continuing, I don't care. If it's gonna keep dropping, I don't care. But I'm looking for this sort of action to capitalize if we see NVDA sort of like burn shorts and take them for a ride more and more, and we can just grind a little bit more, squeeze a little bit more, and then we have these flushing moves to the downside, up, down, up, like pretty big swings. So that's how you define, I mean, that's the typical norm, like when when you see a stock at its all-time highs swing like 5, 7, 10% every single day, that's when you know that this is a local top. Again, I'm not going to claim that it's going to be all-time top, but it will be local top for me to watch, to play possibly NVDA. So pullback areas would be, I mean, these gaps, of course, I'm going to expect to get them filled, but that drop on TSLA's case was, we had like a 13% drop in one day. So since this stock is, well, so far after earnings report, it's up. Well, today almost hit 20% at its 1150 levels. So right now it's 18%. So 20% move, that's almost like 400 billion or 500 billion added to its market capitalization in a matter of like 3 trading sessions. That's a pretty big move. And I think if it continues a little bit more and melts a little bit more, or maybe chops a little bit more, because this week is a short week, so I'm not gonna expect this name, anything possible, okay? But if we just take a look at the option activity of the NVDA, you will see today, well, okay, so we have 10 more minutes left. 1.3 million calls being traded, 800,000 puts being traded. And you can see a lot of the delta that is being traded is between 0 to like 60. There's not much in the money. Of course, there are some in the money. Maybe calls are being sold, and maybe some calls that were purchased, because I'm seeing 10%, 8% in from 60 to 100 delta, decent volume versus puts. I'm going to expect I do think that's, again, my speculation, that it could be those people who bought calls. They could be just capitalizing on that move and maybe just closing out their calls, okay? And it could be also at the same time selling calls, which are these deltas that are from 0 to 40, maybe even like 60, where it is a little bit outside and with some time. So, but again, this is my opinion, and I do think that if we do stretch a little bit, we can pull back, we can and then we can basically, I'm not going to say that it's going to mirror 1-to-1, but that's similar price action I am anticipating. So that's my opinion. That's what I'm watching. So that's the update for NVDA. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.